and the ancestors are looking out for us. Todd Hayes is exposing them, man.
Okay, you see that chair right there? See how big it is?
Yeah.
Now look at the Pope chair under it. Scroll down, look at the Pope chair under
Never have it been made so clear.
Young TV. Young.
We running the game right now.
Young TV.
Time to take over.
Young
We the hottest in the game. Hit that like, hit that subscribe button. If you just not tuned in.
TV.
Share, like on your Instagram, Facebook.
Young TV.
If you tuned in, we broadcasting live from 2030, baby.
Young TV. Young
Taking over the game, baby. Oh yeah.
Young TV.
Hit that like.
Young TV.
Get them likes up in the air, you heard me?
Young TV.
Ride by. Hotel Islam.
Young TV.
Assalamu alaikum. Flown letter.
Young TV.
Hit that like.
Just started my class.
Hey, we about to be back. Hey, we back on, y'all. We hot. And like I gotta say, this is a historical tape that's going in the archives because a lot of people don't know and kind of overseeing this situation of the Republic. And because they haven't really they don't really teach us, go into depth and explain and break down what's really happening and how this was a republic before it was overthrown. But it's still a republic right now. We got a whole bunch of clips. We got Chief Skype Ape at the North Gate, so you already know when Rod see the clip and crack heads into his caps. Then, like I said, he got a whole bunch of stuff in his head, but he just needs something to trigger it so he can start talking about it, right? Because like a lot of stuff, you have a lot of stuff in your head, and then if somebody don't ask about it, you just don't mention it, But then I got tape that's gonna trigger certain key points that's gonna bring out certain information for this tape. And this is going to be a powerful tape. So share it, like it, send it to all your people. Tell them we live. The Tarcisians, the Timerians, we in the building. Hey, Chief, you want to say something before I open up with them clips?
No, I was laughing because on the last one we did, somebody had made a comment where you be saying Skype at the North Gate.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like, Ryan don't ever correct him. It's Sick Ape. It's Sick Ape, but the country draw make you call me Skype Ape. So, city slicker, the country boy, we know what's up.
Yeah, hey.
Skype Ape at the North Gate.
Hey, man, we talking about a Bob straight.
But then when you look at it, these classes is like going over Skype.
Hey, that makes sense.
Except we're using YouTube instead. So it still match.
Yeah.
So for the ones that it was kind of humorous, and I laughed a little bit, chuckled a little bit, and so I figured I'd mention it for them, let them know we read the comments, we checking the pulse of the people.
Yeah, I read every single comment for the people that don't know. If you said something funny and you making a comment now, it ain't showing up. It's because you got the boot. If you disrespect the master teacher, Dr. Malachi Z. York, he said something crazy about Rod. Now we'll take scrutiny and what's the other word we're looking for?
Constructive criticism.
Yeah, criticism. We'll take that. But if you coming in just to be mean, I'll put a boot on you. You know what I'm saying? Right in the crack. Right in the crack part. Right in the crack.
Yeah,
so,
but
hey, we
most of those trolls and fell off though.
Yeah.
Because they see we ain't paying them no attention. We still gonna tell the truth.
Right. Right. It's all good though. We just here to do what we gotta do and keep it going, man. Keep it moving because it's a lot we gotta get done as the government, as the continental government, as the system change over. People gotta be aware because knowledge is power. Knowledge is power. That's what we've been lacking. We perish for the lack of knowledge. That's what they said. So long we start putting the knowledge out, and then people start overstanding in the collective mindset. It's game over. It's already really game over because there's enough of us already. But we just piling wood onto the fire. You know what I'm
Right. That's called process.
Yeah.
It's not instant.
Yeah.
This ain't oatmeal. This ain't quick grits.
Right.
In order for us to get there, the transition has to go through what's called a process.
Right.
It's not a microwave meal. You don't pop it in and 3 minutes later you're done.
Right.
This is the shifting of geopolitics around the world.
Mm-hmm.
This is the restoration and reclamation of the righteous.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Spiritually speaking.
Mm-hmm.
This is the age of Aquarius, the age of knowing, the age of ascension, the dawning of a new age, a golden age. While we put it out in the public domain, because it's noticed the agent is noticed the principle. And when the sovereign speaks, he just say a thing. And then the people in the places responsible to carry out the order follow through.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They closing out the transitional government, which takes us into what this is about today, Elder. The transitional government, the republic, in order to give us back what's rightfully ours, have to first take back the republic from the corporate. The corporate is governed under Uniform Commercial Code, which when they abandoned Congress, put us under Admiralty jurisdiction. They call that abandoned ship.
Mm-hmm.
Right? The ship can't operate, so they charter the ship under an incorporated doctrine.
Mm-hmm.
The incorporated doctrine holds them under Uniform Commercial Code in Admiralty and Maritime.
Mm-hmm.
The abandonment of Congress and the abandonment of ship mean that everybody that was on the ship is presumed dead and lost at sea.
That's right.
Civilly mortis. Mm-hmm. So because of that, everybody is classified from the land as black in law. That means they are on the defense on the chessboard. They are the ones that was presumed dead and lost at sea, even though we walked among the living. But we walked as the straw man and not the true man. And we didn't know that the true man was the man in the show.
Mm-hmm.
The Truman Show, where everything that he did throughout his life was recorded, and he didn't know that he was in a simulation, an artificial environment. To become aware of the dream in the dream gives you full control of the dream. Now you can use the dream to make reality bend to the will of the strong will.
Mm-hmm.
Right? We have to be equally as willing to lift up the downtrodden as we is to chop down the high and mighty.
Mm-hmm.
If we become favorable to one over the other, then we all suffer.
Mm-hmm.
But when you come with true justice and an even-handed approach, this is why we're going into Libra next. The claws of the Scorpio that protects the Virgo, right? That's seen over by the stinger. So the justice comes in during Libra as the final phase of the shutdown, timed by 3-eye Atlas as a stellar clock to let you know what the universe is doing. An anomaly appears straight out of a Rakim song. Follow me when you was thinking you was first. Let's travel at magnificent speeds around the universe. What could you say as the earth gets further and further away? The planets as small as balls of clay. You stray into the Milky Way, worlds out of sight, far as the eye can see, not even a satellite. But now stop and turn around and look. As you stare in the darkness, your knowledge took. But keep staring, because soon you suddenly see a star. You better follow it, because it's the R. Right? Follow the leader. So the star comes in out of nowhere. Keep staring, because soon you suddenly see a star. Coming from out of nowhere, Three-Eye Atlas. And on the heels of Three-Eye Atlas comes the R, the A to the K-I-M. And if I wasn't, then why would I say I am? So it becomes a catalyst for the revelation of truth. So for the Republic to give back to the people what's rightfully theirs, they have to first wrestle it from the hands of the Admiralty Maritime jurisdiction and reclaim back the constitutional right from the charter right. The charter right is a corporate charter, an artificial constitution that's used in the place of the true constitution.
Right.
The Constitution written in the blood of Crispus Attucus is the secondary constitution used to recharter the corporation that put us under the spell of sleep again. As the blood fades on the contract, it got a staying power of approximately 200 years. When you don't maintenance the conjure, it causes a disruption.
That's right.
And resets the conjure, War 1812.
That's right.
Right? So that give us to 2012 instead of 1976. But the revolutionary spirit, 1976, of the bicentennial still remains. The spirit to change a thing back to what it was. It's the 360-degree turn, but it's only on the 180 pivot. Because a 180 was already flipped. That's how the last became last when they once was first. And this is why the last must return to the position of first. Alpha meets Omega. The beginning meets the end. Right? So when Big Mama returned, that's the Omega mother. She crowns the Alpha male as the Queen Mother. She puts the crown on his head and she selects who sits next to him as the queen on the throne. She is the Queen Mother, mother of the king. So then upon the coronation of the king, then you restore all of the kingdom. But we're trying to bring the kingdom of heaven down to earth instead of suffering hell on earth.
Right.
So you have in place, you have your trump card, right? Your big joker, Donald J, right? Donald the Duck. So they telling us in code what's going on so you would know how to see it, but they put it in parody and comedy. The laugh now, cry later scenario. But if we cried then, guess who turn it is to laugh?
Right.
See, so turnabout is fair play, but that's only at 180 degrees. But that's the last 180 degrees of the 360 that was already turned from the beginning. The top was at the bottom and the bottom was at the top. But when you take another 180, now you have the bottom on the bottom and the top on the top. Back to the way things supposed to go. The matriarch sits on her throne. And it's through the mother that the son is crowned king. It's through Isis that Horus becomes Osiris. The son becomes the father. Right? And that's why the father and the son are one. right? But the mother and the father are one too, because the mother played the father in his absence. Right? But she learned from the father how to administer the father's side to the son. In other words, she learned from a good man how to teach her son how to be a good man without taking him from being who he is. Right? So we appoint the people, but we put the information out for the public to be able to wake up to the nonsense. So now the government shut down, they doing all this other stuff. They just took $2 billion from Doge findings to fund the food stamp program while the government shut down. Now remember, the food stamp program, it won't be necessary after the flip because everybody will have access to food. And they'll be encouraged to be part of a co-op with a family farm. So you'll be getting fresher food directly from the farm with no processed ingredients in it. Because we're going to lose the grocery stores, especially the big chains. We might go back to catalog shopping because Walmart's and Myers might shut down. Right? The banks are going to be turned over to the new system under the United States Treasury as opposed to the Federal Reserve. The United States Treasury constitutionally can only coin and mint money of gold and silver. That's why the fiat notes was produced under the Federal Reserve, because the Federal Reserve was a private bank. And they could issue IOUs to all of their constituents, those who have an account. And the IOUs circulate as currency. And they use a system of levy and liens. That's a debt-based system in order to finance the circulation of the currency with substance. So they use in the demand, the IOU, in order to make you surrender the material thing that they want. But they put it in the terms of bills and notes so that they can catalog and account for how much of it they're using. Business need bankers. So the corporation been closed. We've been watching political satire play out in DC as a grand production, political production. That was a whole cover story to counter a coup. Right? And this is why during his speech to the military, Donald J. say I was 45, 46, and 47. But I don't want to take the credit for 46. So he was telling you that even though the political satire ran the chapter called Sleepy Joe, it was a way for him to get 3 terms of action before he leave office, but by only officially serving 2 terms. Because he was a coup intercept that allowed them to allow the conspirators, the participants in the coup, to expose themselves by pretending that you don't know it's a coup while you record everything they doing to establish the coup. Then you send your military in to subdue them. Go out, and then now they got to go into major cities, what they call critical hotspots. So ISIS requested police backup in Chicago because they was uniform in distress. And the chief of police or somebody, the mayor or somebody, told them to stand down. Don't go give them support. Meanwhile, they were running commercials. ISIS trying to give incentive to police officers to lead a force before the final clampdown, because all these police officers is going to jail. Because they are the military arm of the occupying police state that's not even supposed to be here. They invaders. They not chartered out of the country. They chartered from London. So they was under what they call Crown Holdings Corporation as a nonprofit, right? So they coming from out of Buckingham Palace with jurisdictional authority to police the land while it's under salvage jurisdiction. And to return all of the wealth from the land back to the crown as seized assets from a sunken vessel. And we're going to open up museums to show you where all of the sunken vessels' wealth was stored at. We're going to put it on display because it had to be visible to the public in order for it to have value. So they took it out the tombs, the sacred sites, and put it into the financial institutions under the false pretenses of education and erudition, so that they can financially capitalize off everything that we've been doing for thousands of years. The side effect is they didn't think that we would ever recognize who we were in ancient times when we're the same people we've always been. Noble Drew Ali said, you are what your ancestors were without a doubt or contradiction.
Right.
So once you realize that how many ancestors had to be in an exact spot for you to be here, then you understand the divergent coming into the convergent, right? It's a funnel effect for the one to return on a particular bloodline to remedy by speaking the word to the winds, Ezekiel, and making the dry bones stand up to an exceedingly great army, meaning the mentally dead, blind, deaf, and dumb, as taught by Elijah Muhammad, is who the Valley of the Bones is, right? And where the Valley of the Bones is, you ain't supposed to speak directly to the bones because they can't move. But if you speak to the winds, it'll make the bones begin to shudder, and they'll stand to be an exceedingly large army, right? So now you look around and you see the patterns that they're describing is emerging as we take over the algorithm with we always been here.
Right.
Y'all all Johnny come lately. Y'all came after the fact. We are the fact that y'all came after. Right? So y'all just a well-dressed lie, but we the naked truth. We don't care whether you give our clothes back or not. You're going to look at this naked truth in the public, out in the open, in front of everybody's face. Roll the coin, Elder.
This where it get good at. We're gonna get now. That's where we get to the class because I'm glad you got that off because that gave people time to get in before we get down really into the important parts of the class. And like he said, notice the age is notice the principle, right? When we roll all this stuff, this is all going down in the record. All right, so I'm gonna roll like the first 3 or 4, and then we could go in.
When I'm talking about republic, I'm talking about a form of government. So there's a republic form of government and a democratic form of government. Now, let's understand that originally when the United States of America was created, it was a republic. You remember that pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. Notice it said United States of America. If it just says United States, it's not dealing with America. Please understand there is an organization called United States that is foreign to America, and it is owned by Britain. But that pledge says, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America.
Talk on that part right there, Rod, because all that nobody else gonna make. Now, let's get the rest. We ain't gotta talk long on it. Now, in school, we used to say that pledge allegiance all the time, but I didn't ever think about when we was in school that it says, I pledge allegiance to the republic for which it stands. Not the Democrats, not no other party, no all this other stuff they talking about. It's this a republic. Could you go in on that?
So what they're talking about as the republic for which it stands, the republic is the constitutional government that delegates was elected for, that made up the original Congress, right? That was the republic. Remember, the republic failed 2 times. Under Washington, it failed when it was usurping the Continental Congress. The only reason why they called George Washington the first president is because they switched from the Constitution of the Continental Congress, which was called Articles of Confederation, which was the original Constitution. That Constitution still stands because it's grandfathered in because it predates the U.S. Constitution, and no legal authority has ever repealed it or said that it was in error. So it stands as grandfather law, right? If you know how to use it. The same with the Iroquois Confederate papers, the Hadassah Treaty. It's also grandfathered in because it's never been repealed or overturned in competent law. So it's under the grandfather law. So the grandfather clause say that a law that hasn't been overturned is active until somebody addresses it and put it in recorded that it's been overturned. None of those things happen. When they switched from the Continental Congress to the U.S. Constitution was phase 1 of the usurpation of corporate fiction in the place of the People's Republic. So Washington, remember, he came in as a wartime president. He was a General George Washington. He assumed command of all of the militaries of what they called the Union forces. And they became the United States of America at that time. Now, at that time, we had already been through 13 years of Continental Congress reign with at least 8 different indigenous leaders being elected president. It was because of this that they had to switch us over to corporate. Then again, after Lincoln assassination, Congress fled, which left the vessel afloat at sea because Turtle Island floats on the ocean. So it's considered as a movable vessel in maritime law. But the land rights, once restored, become the common law. This is why Donald the Duck, Donald John Quavius, that's why he said that if you've been together, living, cohabiting for 5 years or longer, you married, period. That was under the common law. He taking us from the admiralty back to the law of the land. Under the common law, you didn't need a wedding to be married because you didn't have to be certified through the state as a qualified applicant. Remember, the old marriage certificates required a blood test for blood compatibility and breeding the offspring. Eugenics, right? And then they went from that to just recording the offspring because they came up with drugs where the Rh negative and Rh positive won't cause a negative side effect and the woman can carry the baby to term. Right? Using medical intervention. And from there, now they cloning the mind. The union of the people is the union of corporations in the form of marriage. So you go back to the common law goes back to what they say in Genesis. You should leave thy mother and father, cleave to thy wife, and y'all should become one flesh.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So it's telling you about the matrilineal system. The land rights is inherited through the motherland.
Mm-hmm.
Rulership rights is inherited through the fatherland. When the fatherland has to be activated by the motherland in order for him to rule in his time. Once he's been activated, then he steps into the position of permanence, a position of power to reclaim what was stolen. So first they had to go back to the republic form of law, because the republic take you to the Constitution. From the Constitution, whether they go the Longhouse Treaty or whether they go Continental Congress, Articles of Confederation, becomes hot at that point. I mean, they become overly active because you reverse engineering the whole colonization process. It's the only way out to get it over with. So as you reverse engineer it, you see everything you've seen coming into the situation going out. You just got to realize it's going to be upside down and backwards. That means names going to be changed, people going to be switched from place to place from the beginning to the end. We came in under George Washington following the Continental Congress. We leave out under George Herbert Walker Bush, who declared himself King George I, with a Senate Select Committee recognizing him as the king of the land. By doing that, he activate wartime protocols for the military because it's considered a attempt to take over the government during the time of war. Right? So it's taking away the power from the people. So following that, you had your Continental Congress years being played out as your Clinton, Bush, Obama, and Donald Trump going in reverse engineer. Because remember, King George is still the king until they take his head. So that meant whoever was sitting in the seat, if they didn't take his head, they was his puppet. So now you go back to the funeral and you see the envelope and everything starts to make sense.
That's right, Rob.
So they have to go back to the republic first in order to give them what's owned by treaty by us, back to us. None of the treaties was supposed to last longer than the constitutional contract of 200 years.
That's what the conjure was. All right. Hey, so I'm gonna roll a couple because they real short, but they real potent.
A constitutional republic, not a democracy. The ideal of a democracy is universal equality. The ideal of a constitutional republic is individual liberty. A democracy always degenerates into dictatorship, which promises government-guaranteed equality and security, but it delivers nothing but poverty and serfdom for the people it robs and rules. America was founded as a constitutional republic to safeguard the liberties of the people against the tyranny of democracy or of one-man dictatorship. In this century, great strides have been made toward the goal of subverting our republic into a democracy. The foremost tactic of the subverters is subversion of language. By calling America a democracy until people thoughtlessly accept and use the term, the totalitarians have obscured the real meaning of our principles of government.
America isn't a democracy. America is an oligarchy. It's a plutocracy. It's ruled by the rich, of the rich, by the rich, and for the rich. Democracy in America is just a smokescreen. It's a charade that they perform every election cycle just to pacify you, to make you believe that you have some stake in the system. I mean, look at the reality. For roughly the first 100 years of American so-called democracy, only white male property owners could vote. The so-called land of the free was built on the exclusion of the vast majority of its people from the democratic process. This gradually expanded to include all white males, and then theoretically, black black males, but not in practice, in theory. Eventually, they had to grant the vote to women and Native Americans. Imagine that. The indigenous people of that land were the last to be given the right to vote in that land. What kind of democracy is that? But they never wanted power in the hands of the people. As the franchise of voting expanded to include those who were not white male property owners, the real power moved further and further away from the democratic process. They dangled the right to vote in front of you to make you think that you're a participant in power, but they kept the real power in the hands of the wealthy elite, more and more so over the years. As the right to vote expanded, the relevance of the vote contracted. I said no one ever intended for power to be in the hands of the people, and it never has been. I mean, just look at how money controls politics in America today. The Supreme Court's decision on the Citizens United case opened the floodgates for corporate money in elections. Billionaires and corporations pour millions and millions of dollars into political campaigns, drowning out the voices of ordinary people, of the whole electorate. They're hiring candidates. They're writing laws. They're purchasing policies that serve their interests. This isn't democracy, it's oligarchy. When a handful of wealthy individuals can dictate policy and sway elections, obviously democracy doesn't exist. Politicians just do a tour of duty in government to prove their loyalty to their funders before moving to highly paid positions in the private sector, working then for the same people that they worked for all along. You know, every time they do a tax cut, who benefits? The richest 1% will receive the lion's share of that, while the rest of the people have to make up the difference. Whatever they don't take from the rich, they take from you. Instead of taking from the 1% who own and control more wealth than the rest of the 99%, they take it from you. And somehow you still think you live in a democracy. No. The democracy they have is the one they always intended to have, which is one in which only the rich and the owners of the society have any say.
I got one more, Raw, before we go in. Dude, that sound like he got Malcolm X in it.
We of this mighty Western Republic have to grapple with the dangers that spring from popular self-government, tried on a scale incomparably vaster than ever before in the history of mankind, and from an abundant material prosperity greater also than anything which the world has hitherto seen. As regards the first set of dangers, it behooves us to remember that men can never escape being governed. Either they must govern themselves or they must submit to being governed by others. If from lawlessness or fickleness, from the folly or self-indulgence, they refuse to govern themselves, then most assuredly in the end they will have to be governed from the outside. They can prevent the need of government from without by showing they possess power of government from within. A sovereign cannot make excuses for his failures. A sovereign must accept the responsibility for the exercise of power that inherits in him, whereas is true in our republic.
Now we're gonna come back on another one, but this here ties into this. I gotta ask you a couple questions. Because the rights of indigenous people, the right to govern ourselves, ties into our republic. So could you go in? That's the first question. Could you go in on the right to govern ourselves, and that's part of our sovereignty? And that's they saying that we don't know how to govern ourselves, that we savages. That's what the Pope said. The Pope said if they ain't Christians, they savages. So we got to govern. Go ahead. Could you go in on it?
So what you talking about, that was all instituted long before they invaded. In the 1300s, they started issuing those papal bulls that was licensing the tyrants of the church to start conquering lands. They started in Europe.
Right. That's right.
Right. The church was one of the most instrumental tools in the expulsion of the Moors from Europe, or as they say, Spain. Like, you got to remember, when Columbus came and went back over there and reported his findings to Ferdinand and Isabel, they had been beheaded. Right? That was part of the Great Inquisition that lasted 700 years until 1495, I think it was, 94, a couple of years after the reporting of discovery of the New World. When they discover it over here is when they established the New World Order, which was a corporate order, an order of fiction. They always referred to this as the New World because the order of the ages has to come from this land. We have to be intellectually inclined because we are the head of the earth. Of all of the collective people, the body part we play the role of is the brain. So we have to figure out what's going on so that we can wake the other tribes up around the world. And they all been watching us for years, waiting on us to say, when these suckers gonna wake up? Now we woke.
Yeah.
We aware. We see clearly the fraud before us. We don't want to take part in any other fraud, but they compel you with adhesion contracts, right? So you forced to be, anytime they forcing you in the contract, that's not autonomous government. That's not self-government. We never wanted to be a part of the United States. That's why they called us outlaw tribes, enemy combatant tribes, foreign nation dependent tribes, right? But then they mixed us up in their paperwork and changed our identity over and over and over again. Right? That's to shuffle us up with people that ain't from here that look like us, but they ain't us. Right? George Washington challenge. In 200 years, will they know what side of the ocean they come from? We come from this side, they came from that side. We just was fighting the war for the throne. The great sacerdotal seat of the great mother, which was over here. Right? They use their spells and sorcery and conjure to try to usurp, but it only can last until the close of the age. Now that the age closed, the great era of disclosure is here, and we telling everybody exactly what's going on, and they kind of see it, but they kind of don't.
Yeah, it's happening.
Right. So the awakening, as they call it, is when enough of us is aware that it causes a sudden paradigm shift.
That's right.
This is all that's talked about on the internet right now. Who we are. I don't care if you're on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. It's the hottest topic on the internet.
That's right.
When I came out, the only person that was talking about this on the internet consistently was Dane Calloway. And back then, I used to see videos of Chief Warhorse.
Yeah.
Now, it's everywhere you look. We telling them. The gig is up. Trick no good. The grand illusion has been seen through. We see the goofy behind the curtain now. Right? We not falling for it. We know we was invaded. We know we was usurped by dirty Moors.
That's right.
Not to be confused with the righteous Moors. It's a very unique distinction between the two. All of the Moors know it's a difference between the dirty Moors and the righteous Moors. But sometimes even the righteous Moors, when you hear you talking about the dirty Moors, get offended because you're talking about the Moors.
Right.
You might not have no problem with them because you know they about what's telling the truth and about what's right. But the dirty Moors use them as minions and sick them on you. So they come heckle you, try to lure you into fruitless debates when they don't even know their own doctrine. So the Grand Sheik say, when he seen me, he the finisher.
That's right.
He came to finish it, close it out, wrap it up. Zigzag flip through the end of the gate. Sew that shit up. Whoop their ass from pillar to post. Until it's all sold up. Now they can't got nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. The gig is up, the fraud is exposed. Stay out the people's way and let them clean up the land. That's all they doing. That go back to what I was saying earlier. ICE is offering great incentives for police to leave the police force and join ICE. ICE is part of Homeland Security.
That's right.
Right, which falls under the Justice Department and ultimately the U.S. Marshals. Then they can be also utilized by the National Guard or in conjunction Stay out them people way. Them police got it coming. Them judges, I can't wait because I hope they put them on the guillotine concerto and let me pull the rope.
Hey, you mentioned another question I got for you before we go to the next slides, couple slides. Now, in a republic, they said, like in a democracy, they said that the majority rule, and then nobody else got no rights. Whatever they say, go. And then in a pretty much the mob rule in democracy. And they've been promoting the democracy to us the whole time, like making us Nubians think that that's the way we're supposed to go. They down for us, and they've been
okay.
The whole time.
Now, when you go studying socialism and communism, because it's part of world history studies, you realize that when you read the writings of socialists and communists around the world, when it's translated into English, they don't call it socialism or communism, they call it democracy. It's a whole different form of government. The democracy means mob rule, but it's actually mob control, ruling the mob with an iron fist. When you go back to the Bolshevik Revolution, you realize that the iron fist was one of their symbols. It also looked like the black fist of unity.
Yeah.
It also looked like the JDL fist. So the fists understand the power of the unity, but they want the unity of the 1% to steal the wealth from the rest. They don't want the rest to be unified and take the wealth and redistribute it amongst all of us, because we are heirs to the earth. They got us thinking that we some kind of visitors here. We've been here the whole time. People be like, why you got to pay to live on earth? You don't pay to live on earth. Right. You pay to live with the amenities of modernized living. Otherwise, you just move into the woods and start living. But that's not conducive to most people's understanding of life, because we used to civilization. But the tribes that live out in the Amazon, they don't pay no bills.
Right. That's right.
The ones that live in the Serengeti Plains, they don't pay no bills. The one that live in the Australia outback, they don't pay no bills. Anywhere you don't pay no bills, you have limited supply to what we call modern standards. Now you have to be incorporated in the census, in the count of the people. That's what the census is for, to count the people. But when they count you, they have to classify you as in poverty because you're not part of their system. Your wealth is derived from an alternative source, the fat of the land. If you can't quantify it in reserve notes, then they don't recognize it as wealth. But for us, if it doesn't produce harmony of life, we didn't recognize it as wealth. And sometimes more people, the only thing that kill more people than money is love.
It ain't funny, but it's true though.
Yeah. Wars have been started that killed millions in the name of love. You know, so that's the historical record. Anybody can look it up. The only thing they died at the third place is religion.
Thanks. Hey, Rod. Oh, go ahead. I thought you had to start. Go ahead.
Yeah. So when you realize what everybody dying for, then what is we living for?
Right. That's deep. Make sure I put that as a highlight. Hey, my next question before we go to the next slides is under a republic, they say that we got God-given rights, unalienable rights. Could you go in on that? God-given rights, unalienable rights under the republic? Because in a democracy, they pretty much, we got the rights, but they don't gotta really mind them in a democracy because it's a mob rule. But in a republic, those rights ain't nothing no way around it. And it's pretty much this is a republic. The democracy is just a usurp or try to overlay onto the republic to try to get us to agree to it. So could you go in on unalienable rights, God-given rights in the republic?
An unalienable right. First of all, any right you have, if you don't exercise it, it don't matter. Your rights are only your rights when you are exercising them. Like when I tell you that they enumerated your rights in the Indigenous Rights Act, and it told me I can use the oral tradition to talk to my people.
That's right.
As long as I follow what's called a public notice format. Timestamp, archivable, dated format. All social media reach more than 1,000 people fall under that category. So everything I do on social media is those age and notice the principle.
Right.
Exercising of the sovereignty.
That's right.
The republic is ruled by laws. The people generally elected officials to make laws normally it was to fix governmental issues. It wasn't to govern people. It was to get resources to places. The people at the grassroots level was responsible for the local issues. And they was to use federal government to extract resources under the republic, and the resources sometimes required a law to be passed in order for a pipeline to be built, a water channel to be dug, a dam to be built. Remember, in early America, Congress didn't meet all year long. They only met like 2 weeks out the year.
Yeah.
There was never supposed to be a profession. It was supposed to accumulated resources was supposed to provide the needs from a bigger bank to the places that was developing, but instead they started siphoning the money to overseas interests. As any almanac will show you where they was sending all of the money to, they wasn't spending it here. Everything they did was bare minimum for maintenance. That's why our infrastructure was crumbling.
Yeah.
Because they was only doing minimal maintenance on the land in order to pay for the rest of the world to be developed.
Yeah.
When you see how Dubai look, most of that money came from here.
That's right.
When you see how Bangkok look, most of that money came from over here.
Yeah.
Thailand.
Yeah.
And all of those countries, high-end countries, oil-producing countries, was getting that money from over here. The irony is that we produce just as much oil in the Texas Southwest region as they do in the Middle East.
Oklahoma, all capital of the world.
They got just as much oil in Mexico as they do in Nigeria. Right? Mexico is rich in all kind of resources, but the people not reaping the rewards of the wealth of the land. That's what's supposed to finance all of our stuff, because they are accumulating and calculating the wealth they stole from us, because they got to give it all back in the end if we figure out who we are.
Say trustees. That's right.
Yeah. So now your republic, your rule by law, becomes micromanaging rules. To rule by law, they making traffic law, which is public policy. It's not law. Right? They making family court law. That's public policy. That's not law. The elder women from both families supposed to get there and go through the divorce settlement. Got nothing to do with the courts.
Right.
But people then rely so much on the courts that now we can't use the tribal method of the elders in the family determining family tie, who's more fit as a parent, the mother or the father. And if you can't afford the child, then you can't have the child. Give it to the one that can afford it. But you still get to see your child. It's just that the primary custody goes to the one that can financially sustain the lifestyle of the child at a reasonable level without the aid of the state, because that's about to be gone.
All right, let's roll that next one, man. Now, this next part finna get interesting, y'all.
Roll the corn.
Get scared now. Hit that like button, y'all. Hit that like button.
For those of you who don't know what the difference is, we could boil it down to this. Democracy is essentially mob rule, meaning whatever the for those of you who don't know what the difference is, we could boil it down to this. Democracy is essentially mob rule, meaning whatever the consensus opinion is what gets passed into law. And a republic is law governed or law ruled, meaning we set these laws and they are unbreakable for all of time. No matter what, in every circumstance, we follow the law, not what people think. So if public opinion changes, too bad, we have these laws. Now you could say there's pros and cons to both of these, but in my estimation, a democracy is far more easily controllable and manipulatable than a republic is, because all you got to do is sway public opinion and you can do whatever you want. Whereas to change a law that's been put in place is basically impossible. And so a good example of this would be, let's imagine you go to a mall and you're going to go rob this rich guy you see walking through the mall. You're going to go put him at gunpoint, take his wallet. Now you do this and 10 people in the mall see you do it. And then they go report you immediately to the police, right? And say, hey, that guy just stole his wallet. That's against the law. You can't do that. You go to jail. That's a republic system of government. The law says thou shalt not steal, period, right? Now let's rerun this scenario under democracy. Under a democratic system of government, we can say that I go up to these 10 people in the mall beforehand and I say, hey guys, come here, gather around. There's going to be a millionaire walking in about 5 minutes and I'm going to hold him at gunpoint and take his wallet from him. And then I'm going to split the profits evenly amongst the 10 of us. Y'all cool with that? And they say, yeah, sounds great. And then the guy walks in, I put him at gunpoint, steal his wallet, divvy the profits. We all leave happy. Now that's what can happen in a democracy because mob rule. We all agreed it was okay because we're all going to benefit from it. So we were okay to steal his property. So now we have the system called Democrats and Republicans. And over the last, 100+ years, they've slowly changed the language of how they talk about our government and our system from republic to democracy. Again, we're not a democracy for very good reason. One of the reasons is now we see the way our Congress has evolved to be this total monopoly of power where they can just go into a secret room and write up a giant 6,000-page bill that says whatever they wanted to say. Walk in, vote on it, pass it, done. The people don't get to review it. The people don't get to decide if it passes or fails. Only those, senators and congressmen do. And that's because now it's mob.
K was spawned out of the Confederacy and embraced by the Democrat Party. It was embraced by the Democrat Party to oppose reconciliation. And that's what they did. Took a Republican President Grant to send the U.S. Army down there to wipe them out. But then when the Democrats won the House, Grant didn't have the authority to use the Army again, and the Klan prospered. Segregation, Plessy versus Ferguson, in the latter part of the 19th century. A Supreme Court gone rogue again. Again, the Democrat Party, pushing segregation for another 100 years after the Civil War. And so the Supreme Court stepped in again with Brown versus Board of Education. Separate but equal is not equal. Another decision that was intended to do what? Stop the Democrats from being racist and discriminatory against
Ku Klux Klan, founded by a Democrat, Nathan Bedford Forrest. As historian Eric Foner, himself a Democrat, notes, in effect, the Klan was a military force serving the interests of the Democratic Party. President Woodrow Wilson, a Democrat, shared many views with the Klan. He resegregated many federal agencies and even screened the first movie ever played at the White House, the racist film, The Birth of a Nation. I
heard about this film. I heard that once they started showing this again, it reignited the KKK. It had went away, I guess, for a little bit or wasn't as popular. Something like that. I think that's what I heard.
Titled
Political. The KKK's real motives were essentially political. The Negroes were invariably required to promise not to revoke the Republican ticket and threaten with death if they broke their promises. Barton told WND the most cohesive group of political supporters in America now is African Americans. He said most consider their affiliation with the Democratic Party long term. Yes, that's like I just said. Most black people gonna rock with the KKK basically because they don't know or understand the history behind it. Right? They don't know. So it's all ignorance. It's due to ignorance. So once you lift the veils, those blinds, and you go do some research, you start to figure out like it's not what you thought it was. It's not what you thought.
All right, Rod, from there, the KKK supporting down in the South, supporting the Democrats. The conjure.
Hold on, Elder.
Go ahead.
I sent you a text before we went live. Look at it. That picture was on your video that was the prelude to this video. Did you notice that? You on mute.
Hey, I didn't know you had text me, Rod.
But that go right into what we're talking about. Because a lot of people don't know the Dirty Moors is the ones who started the KKK. Right. And they was the original ones under the KKK uniform. That's why we used to call them the Black Hand. Because we couldn't see their face, but we could see their hands. See, in that picture on your video, it showed them walking down the street. The one carrying the American flag is, you can't mistake him for nothing but a brother.
And the other two dudes were to the right of them. They look like brothers too.
Well, see, y'all got to be aware of this. Most of the socialist doctrine come from C.L.R. James, one of the most prolific writers. He was out of the islands down there in Central America. I think he was from Barbados. I think he might not be. It might be another country down there, but I think he was from Barbados. But that's where all of the ideologies were refined under Trotsky and Lenin through C.L.R. James. When Lenin got exiled, he went into Mexico and he used to meet with C.L.R. James in Mexico. They wrote a book together called Black Nationalism and Self-Determination. And that writing is part of the blueprint to what we call the Black Power movement of the 1960s. And that's why they kept calling Martin Luther King a communist. You muted, Elder.
Hey, this question, Rod, from that. So with the Klan, the Grand Wizard, all these guys, one of these articles I read said the Klan was putting guns to brothers' head and saying, you better convert to a Democrat or else get your brain. They said there was 22 congressmen of House of Representatives that were brothers or Moors or, original people of the land. And
you know why that don't make sense to me, Elder?
Why?
The black codes. We weren't allowed to vote yet.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. That's that black code. The black code didn't get reenacted until after the Civil War.
Mm-hmm. That was around the development time of the Democratic. The Democrats is a breakoff from the Republican Party. It was originally the Democratic Republican Party.
Yeah, the Whig Party.
And they had several other parties, the Commonwealth Party, which was the remnant of the Continental Congress, who was fighting to restore the Continental Congress back as a supreme law under the Articles of Confederation. They was in there trying to take over corporations so they can restore the republic. That was called the Commonwealth Party. Then you had the ones who was representing the interests of Britain, which was the Whig Party.
That's right.
Right. And then you had the ones that the colonists set up, which was called the Colonial Party. Right. And then they became, the Colonial Party gave birth to something called the Daughters of the Republic, who became instrumental as supporters of the Republic under the Constitution to try to get away from the Articles of Confederation. It was basically a political wrestling match between the people from the land and the ones who were the squatters on the land.
Look, so the police connect with this too, going with because the KKK with the slave catchers and going back to Amsterdam where they started their first little police patrol. Matter of fact, let me roll these next clips because it's gonna bring on my next question, the next clips. So we're gonna go ahead and roll these next clips. Let's see. This right here for to get good, y'all. Hit that like, hit that subscribe button, y'all. This about to get good.
You're being used. Who founded the Democratic Party? Why they have the donkey? The donkey or the jackass comes from Andrew Jackson, a slave owner. The one who pushed a lot of Native Americans into the Trail of Tears. The leader who oppressed black people as a whole, just like Woodrow Wilson did and his wife. You support a party that has brought more damnation into this country than any other time because they changed tactics. You're being used. I hate to say this, but you're being used. This is my book right here, The Klan and the Elephant, Unraveling the Democratic Party Ties to the Ku Klux Klan. Who's the founder of the Ku Klux Klan, brothers and sisters? You guys, I'm telling you, it's a shame that we don't know history. I mean, there's so little interest in history study. It's like, the news media have done such a good job in psyoping you. You really believe that the Republican Party is the damn Ku Klux Klan, where they're not. I mean, they're the one who was advocating for freedom of slaves. They were the Republicans, man. They were Republicans. The Republicans are diehard abolitionists, the free slaves. The free our ancestors. They're the one who freed us, not the Democrats. They're the one who gave us the right to free speech, not the Democrats. They're the one who gave us the 14th Amendment, not the Democrats. They're the one who gave us the right to vote, not the Democrats. They're the one who gave us the rights to citizenship, not the Democrats. And yet, many of y'all demonize the Republican Party like they're the worst thing since Adolf Hitler and Genghis Khan. Shame on you. Do your homework.
Well, I like some of the stuff he said, but you might have a question. I had a question on one thing. He said something about they give us the 14th Amendment. Now, from my understanding, the 14th Amendment locked us back into chattel property with Congress instead of with the church or the Pope. Go ahead.
Okay, slavery was private.
Okay.
Before abolition.
Okay.
The 14th Amendment made you become a public servant slave as opposed to a privately held servant slave.
Okay, yeah.
Right. The what he talking about with the slave system, it's a system. And the system, they wanted to have everybody under the net of bondage. So they wrote the 14th Amendment so they can not only enslave the so-called Negro, but now they can also use the system of taxation to enslave the European as well, the paleface.
That's right.
Right? So it was a banking philosophy applied through political means. The Republican Party is the champion of big corporations. You got to remember that part too.
Okay, go ahead.
Which don't mean us no more good than the slave master.
No, that's what I was getting at. Go ahead.
When you go back to the catalyst for the complaints that created the Civil War, the Republican North was saying that because the South had free labor, they was able to generate more capital than the North. Right? This was after they ceded from the Union. So in order to save the Union, if you go back and read Lerone Bennett's Forced into Glory, the Abraham Lincoln story, Abraham Lincoln said, if I could save the Union and keep slaves, I would do that. But I see that I can't save the Union unless I free the slaves. So he made a public announcement. Now you got to remember, a proclamation is a public announcement.
Yeah, that's right.
Emancipation means to transfer property. Most people don't know that's what emancipation means. It was the transferring of the property that was private property in the South. Under the rule of the North, it would be public property of the corporate entity masquerade as the government.
Dang.
Right? A national is a subject. A national is the legal fiction. This is why all ships on the high seas are referred as a national, coming with a nationality represented by the flag they fly. So they become citizens of the nation that hold their nationality. The nationality movement of the Dirty Moors was to get you into a slave catcher agreement with the corporation by making you become an asset national in law of the corporation in which you proclaim your nationality to. If you proclaim your nationality to a foreign nation, then you obligated to register under the Trading with the Enemies Act, the part that's called foreign dignitaries. Right? So once you do that, you're supposed to be then seeking political asylum with diplomatic immunity as a foreigner in a foreign land that represents another nation. The problem with that is your ass can be deported to the nation you pledged your nationality to.
That's the thing. That's the thing. And I believe, like I say, that I don't think nationality a bad thing. I just think that it's misdirection on the Dirty Moors to sell us out over to Morocco over there when we standing on our land. We standing on we
gotta go back to the George Washington contract, L.
Go ahead.
You got these different groups of people that's melanated put in the melting pot. One group is trying to stop the other group from saying this pot belongs to me. And the only way they can do it is by living among the people who own the pot, which is the land. Living among the people and assuming their identity and telling the people whose identity they're assuming they from somewhere else. Misdirection. Then they won't never say this pot belongs to me. They'll say we're all in this pot together. Can't we all just get along?
Right.
No, we can't all just get along. Because ain't nobody happy when Big Mama ain't happy because her babies ain't got their stuff.
Right.
She want her daughters to have what's rightfully theirs. We can't get along. we automatically hostile to each other. We might look alike, but we don't think alike and we don't feel alike.
That's deep.
You don't have a reverence for the woman in the womb, and we do. You got a reverence for testicles and phalluses. And that's not the same thing. We know that all life had to come from a woman because we was all female before mama changed our gender in the womb.
That's correct.
Even if we had the Y chromosome, she don't have to agree. She can override the Y chromosome. Biochemistry 101. The balance of estrogen, testosterone, and progesterone determines the gender of the child. The mother is the one who reads the DNA code, and if you ain't the type that need to have a son, she gonna give you a daughter. And that's why so many people twist it now, because they don't understand genetics and they don't understand fetal development. They don't understand none of that stuff. They just go on what the church said. We made this man out of mud and drew a woman out of his rib, and poof, you got a couple.
Hey, Rod.
Yeah.
No, Ali just came to me and said, enforce the Constitution. What you got on there, Rod? Enforce the Constitution.
That's what Trump doing. You got to first enforce the Constitution in order to get the people back what's rightfully theirs.
Mm-hmm.
You got to take it from corporate to republic.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And it plays out in the political satire as the elephant stomping the donkey.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it looked like. The elephant is our watchdog. Know what you Ali.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And so if the elephant is our watchdog, it's going to tear something up at the end. We at the end. Something getting towed up.
Mm-hmm.
We got the liquidator in chief liquidating the corporation. So it's being enforced, right? And then we're going to have a whole new constitutional convention because we need a new governing instrument for the people based on more equitable principles and clearer determinations of the powers of government. Because the government that went totally insane, at least the fraudulent government has. Some of the stuff that they doing to people now, it's totally uncalled for, irrational, and it doesn't make sense unless they are occupying foreign agency trying to control the people on the land by imposing the foreign culture on the people in the land.
That's it.
We got our own culture. We don't need nobody bringing no culture over here. We export culture. We got so much culture.
All right. That's it.
Music, fashion, swag, the whole nine. Everybody want to be like us, but don't nobody want to be us.
Right.
They can't take what we took. They can't endure what we endured and still come out shiny and new. It ain't personal, it's just business. But it's family business, and we take family business personal. That's all.
That's right.
And all the parts of the family is doing a part of the program. Everybody not supposed to do the same thing. And eventually you'll see we all on the same page, but you need a catalyst first.
Right.
And you need a trigger. So once you realize what the trigger is, pull that mofo. Let's set it off. You know, call a meeting all of the generals in the military and tell them, let's set it off. Call all your allies around the world. Tell them move in on the deep state. Crash them now. What'd he say when he got popped in the ear? Fight, fight, fight. Right? So whatever it is then come full circle. The voice has been heard and the people are awake.
Mm-hmm. Before I go to this next clips, I got one more question for you. Now, so they've been able to use color of law since we've been ignorant for the most part as a whole. We ain't really enforced the Constitution, so they've been able to do color of law, do this color of law. So could you go in on how they've been using color of law on us because we don't stand up for our birthrights and our rights on the land?
Right. So what that is called assumed jurisdiction.
Okay.
Colorable law, meaning that you can use color in the application of law.
Mhm.
There's only two colors in the game, black and white. Everything else is a variation in the middle.
Mhm.
So they're telling you it's a chess game by colorable law,
Mhm.
right? It's black versus white, civilly mortis versus free white persons. If you don't know the definitions, you need to go to Black's Law Dictionary and look it up. We've already been over that in this class a few times.
Yeah.
But the white man ain't white. He's just colored by law.
Right.
Right? The black man ain't black. He's been colored by law. And law in black and white. The checkerboard floor. It's the law in black and white. So the application of the law is done through coloring in positions.
Mhm.
Judges wear black, police wear blue, right? Sheriffs wear brown and gray. Military wear black and green for the Army. Black and navy blue for the Navy. Black and marine blue for the Marines. Or sometimes blue and white. Air Force, primarily white with shades of black and blue. They're colored by law. The law is the uniform.
I just want to say that.
The law is the rules for the uniform. Because the uniform can only act according to law.
Right.
Right? Mailmen got a uniform. That's a government agency. Right? Those masquerading as government agencies, you know they not, because there's nobody elected by the people. They appointed. Any appointed position is belligerent to the people. So big cities no longer elect the chief of police like they did the sheriff, but they still elect the sheriff. If the people elect them, the people can compel them to do their will, but if the people don't elect them, then whoever appointed them has the jurisdictional control. So you got to look at the corporate structure. By studying the structure of corporations, and then you do a layout, you will realize that we're in a militarized, occupied zone. Why do you think all of the police look like soldiers walking down the street?
Right.
Riding around in their cars with shotguns and you can't have one.
Yeah.
In a place where you're supposed to have a right to bear arms, not a privilege.
Yeah.
Right? But you can't have one because you might fight back. But when you go and study what the founding fathers said, the reason for giving you the right to bear arms, they tell you it ain't to go hunting, it ain't to go skeet shooting. It's that when the government become tyrannical with these means, the people are authorized to have a well-formed militia and overthrow the tyranny of government. That's what it's for the people to do a citizen's arrest on all of the police for fraud.
Right.
For masquerading as sheriffs.
Well,
they don't have elected jurisdiction. They're not supposed to be here under the republic. But under democracy, you can appoint them. If you see the difference, you can see the struggle.
Yeah, you're right.
The police not allowed to keep prisoners longer than 72 hours, but the sheriff can maintain them until they go through trial. Think about that. If the police hold you longer than 72 hours without charging you, they either have to let you go or make up some shit.
Oh, it's going to be a federal habeas corpus.
Right, because their jurisdiction only stands 72 hours. Then they have to surrender you to the sheriff at the order of the court. And the court is the bar. And the bar is the Bar Association. And the Bar Association was chartered by King George out of England, which means they barristers. Bar being short for barrister.
That's right.
The barrister's accreditation registry.
That's right.
You register the barristers who got royal lineage rights by letters patent, but they can't pass it to their children unless they make their children members of the bar. The bar, the first rules of the bar is that all bar members must uphold the integrity of the bar above all others.
Yep.
So that means that they be holding to the bar more than they be holding to their client. The same with, and you the only one not a bar member. The judge a bar member, prosecutor a bar member, your attorney a bar member.
That's right.
You need a bar member to represent you in the barrister's jurisdiction because you not a passenger on their ship. They just drug you on there. Now they got to prove they had a reason valid to drag you on the ship or drag you to bar. Once they come up with this, what they call information, right? They bypass the indictment. Constitution say you got to be indicted.
That's right.
But the state court has been issuing information because they don't have the powers to indict unless it's a recorder's court. They've been trying to close the Detroit recorder's court down for years. And the one in Chicago used to be a recorder's court. I think it's administrative now. Right? But you can tell how they handle constitutional issues. In the recorder's court, they follow the Constitution as close as they can. But in administrative court, they don't follow the Constitution. They follow the statutes and the codes. It's a difference.
Hey, let me roll a couple of clips. I got a fire question for you because they're gonna go along with these clips because that other clip.
Let's go. More corn.
Democracy is the worst form of government because anything worse is not a government. It's just a pure despotism. But democracy is chaotic. It's unruly. It's unpredictable. It produces majority tyranny. So how does one escape the burden of democracy and preserve the blessings of liberty, which of course our preamble to the Constitution closes? The blessings of liberty are available to us only when we restrain governmental power, which includes majority power. And we do that by creating what we call representative democracy. So the word republic is really a synonym for the term representative democracy. That the people govern, yes. The people are sovereign, yes. But they do so through delegation of authority to agents to represent them, so as to make the process far more reliable, far safer than it would otherwise be.
Oh man, that was right on time because that was my next question about the delegation of authority. Delegation of authority, the police, they don't got no. All these people are supposed to derive their delegation from the Constitution, which is the supreme law of the land, right? For the people first, because it's a republic. They supposed to derive their delegation of authority from the people. So that means that they got to be elected. If you ain't elected, you don't got no delegation of authority. The people can't, how do these people?
That's what he was just talking about, the tyranny of a democracy. When you start appointing people, you can systematically take control of large groups of people by controlling the people in the certain places.
Right.
Law enforcement is a critical position in this war game. And if you don't take the police back off the land and put the sheriff and the marshals back in charge, you can't take it back to the republic. Right? The sheriff and the marshal is appointed by the president after the election. And he's also made known who the U.S. Marshal is. The same with the Department of Defense. I forgot who the U.S. Marshal fall under, but I think they fall under the DOD, part of Homeland Security, as well as the National Guard. But when the president needs information to determine, like, where do I institute martial law? Where do I need to send the local sheriff, or what needs to be done in this area, you know what I'm saying, to benefit the people? A lot of time, his investigative arm was supposed to been the Department of Justice, was like the prosecutor, investigator, and then they would send the marshal out to enforce the order of the president. That's why he's appointed, because it's like his bailiff and his the DOJ is like his attorneys, right? So when they go out, they give information back to the president relating to enforcement of law and stuff of that manner, and what goes on the land. The sheriff's supposed to have an annual convention, right? And then the police is part of something called Fraternal Order of Police. It's a brotherhood like the Masonic Order.
Yeah, I remember teaching on that.
They chartered out of England. They got a sister organization in England. I forgot the name of it. But the handbook come from England, where they tell them how to enforce law.
That's right. Mother Barbara got the book.
Yeah, all that comes from over there. That's because it's the same as when we occupied Iraq. The U.S. military had boots on the ground policing until they can restore a new police force that worked instead for the president of Iraq. So in the meantime, America got two occupations going on simultaneously. They have the Iraqi occupation and the Afghanistan occupation, both going on simultaneously. That's why you see two occupations of Khazarians, one called Ukraine and one called the West Bank. Right? Both of those are the same people. The Khazarians' homeland is Ukraine, and they stolen occupied territory is the West Bank, the Gaza Strip. Right? The Palestinian territory that they now not call Israel. And you got to know, Israel was chartered in 1948 and enforced as the first act of the United Nations with three countries, France, Britain, and the United States. Right? And once they established that in honoring the Balfour Declaration, once they established that, that's when they started sending all of the Khazarians to take over the West Bank. But it was about oil and oil trade, because it was about putting a dog in the fight that they didn't have a dog in the fight. Israel became an asset to the United States, but it turned around and bought the United States corporation. And then the United States corporation became an asset to the state of Israel. Right? That's like the son buying the daddy out. He want him out the business. He gonna run it from where he at. So then Morocco wasn't established until 1956. So Israel is actually like 8 years older than Morocco. So when we're looking at all of these different events in history, the story is still telling us the same thing about colonization and military advancement to overrun the land. And as long as we don't know who we are, they stood a chance of winning, but too many of us know who we are, they can't win now.
Yeah, it's too late now. It's
Yeah. So when they talk about democracy being tyrannical, it's mostly because it's based on majority rule. The reason we weren't originally allowed to vote because we didn't have a stake in the corporation.
That's right.
We weren't stakeholders. We wasn't vote holding members of the corporation. This is where your electoral college come in. You remember earlier my man was saying that the people was elected through the electoral college, the president?
Yeah.
Right. The electoral college is a buffer to control the outcome of an election that's been put to the public's vote. The public vote because they're not members of the corporation. They're not what they call it, vote holding members of the corporation. They employees of the corporation, and the electoral college is serving as their union's negotiating board to elect the president. They never tell us who the electors is on the electoral college, but you can look it up because it has to be put in the public domain. And you'll find nobody on there is Chief Littlehorn, none of that. They all some billionaires that we ain't never heard of before. And it might be a couple of judges on there, a couple of people like that. But the electoral college was the original tool used to usurp the presidency, and I think it was Calvin Coolidge, right? When he won the popular vote and the electors decided to choose the other opponent. And it happened more than once, right? Did you see the Bush-Kerry conflict when they was fighting over the vote? And then who was the other one? Dan Quayle, when they was fighting over the vote, and then the Supreme Court appointed the president. They were supposed to have a revote. If the vote is that close, you're supposed to have a runoff. Then they have a runoff. They had a political appointment by a judiciary. And that's how you know that the whole system is under the central control of a single group of people. Because they do stuff that constitutionally they're not supposed to do. When the people elect the president and there's a conflict, then they supposed to have a runoff. You see it happen on local government with mayors a lot, but you didn't see it with the president when they had the same situation.
Read. Operation Hammer. You ever heard of Operation Hammer with the CIA to rig the elections? Operation Hammer,
That lady on the Senate floor was talking about it not too long ago. That they used to usurp the 2020 election.
Yeah, she was talking about it,
Yeah, but they was using it around the world already anyway.
Yep, as a propaganda machine. That's right.
Now look, people got to be able to think. When they came out and told us the election was rigged, these is the same people that go around the world in silent coups and rig elections to get the candidate they want in office that'll do business with them, telling us that the elections that we rely on has been tampered with, as if they have no way of knowing this to be true.
Right.
If a person invent something and they tell you it work a certain way, and you're going to have to rely on what they told you it was invented for in order to know how to use it. They've been doing that, and they've been using political assassinations. I think it was either Gerald Ford or Ronald Reagan put a moratorium on state-sponsored assassination of foreign heads of state, because the CIA was assassinating or assisting in the assassination of so-called third world leaders around the world to keep puppets in power that they could control. The first president that was assassinated when I think Clinton was the one who lifted the moratorium because it had expired. He didn't reinstitute the ban, and the next thing you know, a Manchurian candidate, the nephew of the late Laurent Kabila, assassinates him in the royal palace. Right. And he was known to be a CIA asset as well. So when we looking at political tyranny, under the form of a democracy. Every time they go to wreak tyranny anywhere else in the world, they say they're going to take democracy to them.
Yep,
And the
that's
only
right.
thing they take to them is blood, guts, and gore.
That's right, though. It ain't funny. That's the truth. Everybody speak out against it. Everybody country that they go and take their sovereignty. It's about taking your sovereignty and putting you under the spell.
Yeah, so that sister you played earlier, I have been watching her. Somebody had sent me her, one of my homeboys sent her to me, and then I had been already up on her.
Yeah.
But I went through and was looking, and she's still fighting the same fight we was fighting 2 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah. Trying to get the
I was
Republic
like,
back.
we didn't already, but she doing her thing. She know what she's talking about, and she come with the receipts.
Yeah, I got more clips of her. I got one more good clip of her too. Where she gonna break some stuff down.
And we roll the corn.
All right, let's roll it. I'm gonna roll it because we got most. I'm gonna roll it.
Then in 1863, Lincoln, it's not right word, chartered, contracted, commission, that's the word. He commissioned one of his field officers to create a body of rules for military occupation of occupied enemy territory. That was called, his name was Franz Lieber, and that was called the Lieber Code. And that Lieber Code describes what a foreign military occupier must do under the rules of the United States to maintain proper military relationship to the civil body and the people of that conquered territory. Okay, so that was issued in 1863. And the war ended, Lincoln was shot, the 14th Amendment was passed in 1868, and in 1867, something called the Reconstruction Acts were issued. Those created 5 military districts for the 10 Confederate states. Those states wanted to come back into the original organic constitutional union, which had been dissolved. Okay, the way it was dissolved is because Congress adjourned when the states walked out, the southern states. So Lincoln was killed because he destroyed the Union, but he wanted to put it back together. And of course, the Rothschilds, who were in control, were not going to let that happen. So he was taken out, and the Reconstruction Acts established military districts for the 10 southern states. Those southern states never left the military districts, so they have always been under military occupation.
Now, democracy is a form of government based upon...
Hey, Rod, you've been saying that about the military occupation. I'm going to pay the next one.
Democracy is a form of government based upon the principle of majority rule, period. End of discussion. Now, that's not very complicated. Majority rule. It's easy to understand, easy to sell to the masses, and, I might add, deadly. For example, what would you call a lynch mob? That's majority rule. There's only one dissenting vote, and he's at the end of the rope. Now, that's pure democracy in action. Now, but wait a minute, you say. The majority should rule, yes, but not to the extent of destroying the rights of the minority. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we are no longer describing a democracy. We are speaking of a republic. A republic is a limited democracy. It's a form of government based upon the principle of limited majority rule. Limited so that the minority, even a minority of one, can be protected against the whims and passions of the majority. And how do you protect the minority from the majority? You write down a set of rules on a piece of paper. You say, this we can do, that we cannot. At the top of the paper, you write the word Constitution. And then everyone agrees to follow the rules no matter what the temptation. And when you're finished, you've created a constitutional republic.
Fire, hold on, Roy. Come on.
So, unto the republic, what did republic mean? Republic, a republic form of government means your God-given rights are protected at all costs. What are your God-given rights? Well, one of your God-given rights is that nobody has the right to force you into a contract. That means God gave you the right to travel. God gave you the right to drive, or whatever you want to call it. You can call it driving, you can call it teleporting, you can call it astral traveling. I got the right to do it. God said I could. It says you have the right to bear arms. You got the right to protect yourself. You got the right to travel this land, this planet, free of governmental documentation. You have those rights. But somebody has told you, you got to register. You've got to have this ID. Well, what has happened is you have given up your rights. When you sign a driver's license, when your mother signed the birth certificates, or when you keep pretending to be that dead fictitious character, you've given up your God-given rights. Well, when you stand in the republic, your God-given rights are protected at all costs. They're not repackaged and sold to you. They can't be reused or all this other stuff that they're trying to do. The problem is you've been signing away your rights. Then we come into the democracy. Well, what is the democracy? What is a democratic form of government? A democratic form of government means mob ruled. Mob ruled. That means the fewer in number have no voice. This is what the video was telling you. That democratic form of government means the fewer in number have no voice. So if you are a melanated being and people are telling you that your people only have 13% of the vote, or 13% make up 13% of the population, which is not true. It's more like 30 and 33, more like that, as opposed to what we've been told. How do we know this? Well, there's so many calculations that are impossible. When they say, oh, well, black people decided they weren't going to go and spend money on Black Friday, or they decided during the Thanksgiving holiday that they're not going to spend money, and 11%, the market went down 11%. And then, listen, there's so many, then they telling you things like melanated people stop watching certain television show, or melanated people make up this many number of people watching this particular show. And it's like, it's mathematically impossible for 13% of the population to have that much of an effect on what's going on overall. If it's only 13%, and then we affecting 50% of the market, when we only do a half-butt job of doing we did a boycott. Melanated people did a boycott years ago. And when they did it, they affected the whole market by almost 45% just because of the boycott, and it was a half-done boycott. Everybody didn't participate. So how do you tell me, melanated people, yeah, we spend a lot of money, but at the same time, it's mathematically impossible for us to be only 13%. We half do the boycott, and then we have that great of an effect on
The theory of our government is that we have surrendered some of our rights to the government, so that the government will protect the rights that we have not surrendered. That's the idea of the government derives its powers from the consent of the governed. Whatever was surrendered to the federal government was limited to 16 discrete, unique, separate, stated, articulated powers in the Constitution. And then the Ninth Amendment says, just because we've listed a bunch of rights in the first 8 doesn't mean that there are many others. It would be impossible for us to list them all. That's the concept of limited government. The government must stop when it wants to touch our natural rights, things like thought and speech and privacy, because these are the things we all yearn as human beings to do, free from interference by the government. If they belong to us as human beings, like my fingers belong to me, then they cannot be taken away by majority vote. They cannot be taken away by legislation. They cannot be taken away by the command of the executive. They can only be taken away if I give them up myself. So you can voluntarily surrender your own natural rights for whatever good you choose to surrender them for. But you can't surrender somebody else's natural rights, because natural rights are owned by individuals, by persons, not collectively, not by groups, not by the government, but by individuals. That is at least the theory of the Declaration of Independence, and the theory of the Constitution, and was at least the theory of the framers, the founding generation of the United States of America. The reality is that our rights have been stolen from us because the government monopolizes force. Today, the government claims it has the authority by majority vote to assault those liberties that are a part of our humanity. You don't have to believe in a traditional true-line God as I do in order to accept this. You don't have to believe in any God in order to accept this. If you believe that humanity is the highest and best virtuous good on the planet, then you believe that humanity, each human being, is the source of his or her own rights. The rights are ours and not the government's.
All right, well, I got a couple questions from those tapes, and then we'll close it out with a couple questions from the crowd. Now, my first question is waiving rights. This is very important about people waiving their rights, because a lot of times when I ain't no better, I used to go into the court, just sign whatever they say, and then go along, how to pay, get in line like the rest of the sheep. So could you go in on people waiving their rights without even knowing it, not even understanding their rights or whatever? Go ahead.
Those are the adhesion contracts.
Okay.
We talk about adhesion contract. Adhesion contract is an ex parte contract. It's a one-sided contract. You don't have any choice but to do the contract if you want to perform the function. Example, we're going to use the music industry. If you don't sign the contract, Universal's not going to put your record out for you. You have to sign the contract first. Right? Now, if it's another outlet for your music, probably, but they don't have the same reach. The leverage is with the record company, because the record company is not there to make music. It's an advertising agency that you hire to promote your music, right? But they give you the impression that they the ones with the product that you need when you the one with the product they need. And by using the contract, the 360 contract, you turn it on his head. They use the contract to systematically steal your master so you can't benefit from your intellectual property in your twilight years. They take control of it after so long and stop paying you. They give you trinkets, and then they keep the big cut of the money. Right? This go all the way back to Scott Joplin and sheet music when it was a penny a page. Right? That was before they came out with printing records. They showed sheet music. People had to know how to read and write music back then in order to perform. And you didn't have an instrumental that you can slide into the player and go out there and rap your song over it. It wasn't cut like that. Everything was, you needed to know the notes. And see, over time, they took us away from the notes. Because the musical notes, studying the musical notes, you tune in the frequencies that you forgot you could tune into. So they had to cut that out. But it's the same thing. They have to use the system to enforce a contract that you never signed. None of us signed these contracts. The driver's license is an adhesion contract. Your Social Security card is an adhesion contract. Your bank's account where they're taking interest out is an adhesion contract. You're forced to use the banking system because they shut down all of the family banks. That was another catalyst to the war against the North and South. Remember, Frederick Douglass financed the bank out of his pocket for the South in one of the Carolinas, right? Because we had our own banking system. They couldn't come in with a levies and lien system, right? Because we had our own banking system. It became later known as plantation money. You're on mute, Elder.
It's my next question, Rod. The Census Bureau. She mentioned the Census Bureau. Because I remember when I used to look it up and then see how many Nubians in America, it always just like have us as the less people. And I used to like that can't be right. It's more than us than it is anybody else over here. And a lot of the people don't even do the census. They don't even sign up. A lot of I didn't even do the census for a while. So it's like half of our people don't even do the census. So what is the strategical gain and white supremacy aim on line on the Census Bureau about it's more white, 70% of America is white. I looked up a Census Bureau and it said 70% of America is white.
No, that can't be.
I know white is a status, you know.
They can't be 70%. I'm gonna tell you why. So-called African Americans make up 13.5, and so-called Hispanics make up 13.7 now. Then you gotta remember you got Asians over here. You got so-called Native American $5 Indians over here that's not classified as white. So that reduces that 70% drastically. So we talking more like if the numbers are accurate, it would have been more along 60-something%. But remember, white don't have nothing to do with skin color. It got something to do with classification and law.
That's right.
Because it's a lot of people that look like us, all of them ain't classified as other than white.
That's right.
They got whole communities of people that look like us, but on paper they classified as white.
And they get mad at you for coming over there if you ain't white.
Yeah, they don't mess with people look like us unless you one of them. Somebody played this video out of California, and they were sitting there talking about moving us. They didn't want us to move in California because we make people like us look bad or something. They were saying they didn't want them in their community, but it was based on poverty. But the principle's still the same. When the census is out of the book of Leviticus or the book of Numbers, I think it is, where Moses was told to number the people. Well, the reason you count the number of people is so that you know where the resources go. And that's the true intent is allocation of resources, but the military intent is to number where people are for strategic control measures, right? They know that a certain percentage of us not doing no census paper because we don't believe in their system. We didn't ever want to participate, but by adhesion, they was forcing us to participate, the outlaw tribes. So now we have to pretend to go along to get along until we can find out how do we get out of this conundrum. And it take a whole lot of thinkers a long time to figure it out. But we gonna figure it out.
Oh yeah, we nailing them in, man, one nail at a time. Right when we hammer right on the nail. We hammering them right on the nail with this one. Noble Jew Ali doing like this right here. Yeah. Return of the Republic. Enforce the Constitution. That's gonna end them. Noble Jew Ali said once we enforce the Constitution as a unit, the game over.
Yeah, because the Constitution invests the right in the people. It don't invest the right in the government. The corporation invests the right in the government first, and then it placates to the people to pretend to be there for the people. Just like the police. Talking about they there to serve and protect. No, they there to break a brother's neck.
On color of law. Number color of law.
And you gotta remember, the Bloods and the Crips was born out of police brutality.
That's right.
To defend against police brutality is the children of the Panthers.
That's right.
And the only way to do that is you had to establish a strong community tie, which gave birth to what we call today gangs, sects. all of the sets was there to resist the tyranny of the police, so the police infiltrated the set and started turning them against each other by killing each other off. Basic infiltration 101.
Somebody just sit there in the comments. Hey, y'all, we'll take some questions from the crowd. We'll take about 3 or 4 questions, maybe 5 questions from the crowd. Then we'll get up out of here, man. What y'all got? Drop it in the chat. Huh?
I said, let's get it in.
Hey, hit that like, hit that subscribe button, y'all. We got about 2,500 people in here now. I think we had about 5,000 people on. Hey, hit that like, hit that subscribe button. If you want to show Chief some love, like I said, we got the Cash App on the screen. We got about 2,500 people in here. Everybody sent them $5. And I put them in the game. We got to keep them off the plantation. We at a point right now where we ending the game. We walking them to their doom. Hey, we walking them to their doom, man. Ain't nothing they can do about it. Like they should have been ended this, but they waited to the last minute. So it's like it's a hard go out. They get kicked out instead of walking out. They could have walked out, but now they get kicked out. You know
they still got to do the perp walk. Got to be exposed. They got to be exposed to the public for the dirt that they did.
Right.
The birth certificate is what you call a savings bond or an investment bond. The birth certificate is used in international trade, what they call batch stock trading. It's not done on the national level, it's done on the international level. We familiar with the New York Stock Exchange. Most of us not familiar with the International Stock Exchange because at the international level, they are no longer trading in millions, they're trading in billions and trillions. And used to be a boat that sat in a bay outside of DC that used to return all of the birth certificates, bonds to the Crown of England to be put on file it's a Swiss banking complex. I forget the name of it, but they take it there and then they leverage loans against the birth certificate for the labor of the person named on the certificate. They also do batch trading in death certificates because they know that death is an illusion and you don't never really die, you just change bodies. So you still have an energy reserve that falls under necromancy. And this is why your mortgage is called a death pledge, right? The root word being morgue, where you take the dead. The death certificate is your morgue certificate, which is your mortuary certificate that they can trade against your decomposition rate. And based on your decomposition rate, your birthday and death date, they calculate how long it's going to take you to reincarnate. So it's active until you reborn, and they know it's you because you're going to come in at a specific time on a specific date and a specific geography. They're going to have a general description of what you were, and it's going to give them a general description of how you're going to return. And from that general description, they can narrow it down by the children born in the area. Let's say it's going to be a male child born to 2 very dark people, so we know the male child is going to be dark. So we know we're looking for a dark male child based on the stellar alignment. He should come back on this day at this geography. So then 3 babies is born. 2 of them is girls, 1 of them is a boy, but he's born light-skinned. He's still the right one because he's the only boy. And they was looking for a male child to be born. It's just that they can't calculate accurately every aspect of the return. But now let's say it was 3 boys born. 1 dark-skinned, 2 light-skinned. They're going to focus on the dark skin, but they're going to observe the light-skinned. So they're looking for character traits as the child develops. How is he going to act when exposed to the education system? Is he going to go along to get along, or he's going to be a problem without trying to be a problem? right? If he's already a problem, he's probably not going to be able to be controllable, which means he's an independent thinker, which means there's a problem here. We need to neutralize him. We need to miseducate him as fast as possible. So they don't put you in accelerated learning, they put you in the slow down learning classes where they can still teach you at a remedial rate to indoctrinate you to their system of control to try to compel you to go along, but it don't always work. Mhm. We went over this on several occasions where the Moors come from, and we trace them back to Menachem and Enlil, and that's part of the Yaqub story. Yaqub, or Jacob, being one of the chosen of Enlil to replace the children of Enki, and they did it through the breeding program, and they left people look like us in charge. I wanted to call them something else out there, but I ain't.
Hold on.
What they're doing behind the scenes in the government shutdown, they determining the auditing. When the government is not active, it's the easiest time to audit because no finances are moving.
Yep.
So if it's a leak in the drain, it'll be the only place the finances are moving. So anybody that they haven't got up until the point of the shutdown, they looking to see who's moving money now through the government when the government shut down. And that's going to expose the final guillotine of the fall of the cabal.
That's what I see too, bro. I see the same thing. The Taínos, their involvement with the tribes before the conquistadors.
I don't understand the question part of it because it's a statement about a question they have, but they didn't ask the question. But speculatively, Dominican Republic and Haiti is one island, one people prior to the conquistadors and the Huguenots. The Huguenots are the French. The French invading force and Spanish invading force attacked two separate sides of the island and met in the middle. This is why you got the split. And the Dominicans, the Puerto Ricans, the Haitians, the Jamaicans, the Grenadians, all those islands down there was trading with South American, North American mainland tribes long before the sailing of Columbus.
That's right. Way before.
One of the first things they interrupted was what we call the Gulf of American trade. It was to stop us from trading among each other so that they could steal everything we was trying to trade. So we always had good relations. The only reason why it's a conflict between the islands, the Spanish-speaking people, French-speaking people, English-speaking mainlanders, and people like from Central and South America, the only reason where there's a division came in is because they controlled us by divide and conquer. Right. They can't rely on us being unified. That's why they never teach anybody that look like me about people like Che Guevara. We have to learn that through our own channels. Yeah. They don't teach us about Emilio Zapata. They teach us about Pancho Villa the sellout. Yeah. Right? And they talk about Cesar Chavez, but we think he a fighter. We didn't know he was a activist fighting for farmers' rights right alongside the civil rights struggle. Mm-hmm. Right? They don't teach this because they don't want us to parallel our struggles and see who the real enemy is, the colonizer. Right. That's why I brought up earlier about the wealth of Mexico that the people don't receive no benefit from. Because the poverty drives people to do some real foul things.
That's right.
By eliminating poverty, you eliminate 90% of crime.
That's a fact.
And in the 10%, you can resolve it without long prison terms, because you either you deserve death or you don't. If you don't, we're not gonna lock you up for no 50 years. That don't even make sense.
All right. Somebody said, does getting baptized was, I guess it's getting baptized part of the use of us being dead at sea? Please enlighten. Much gratitude to both.
The baptism ritual as we do it does not originate with the church.
That's right. We had it over here way before they ancient Kemet. It's part
Voodoo
of
culture gave us baptism.
Go ahead, Rob.
Baptism, okay, water for us symbolized spirit. The submerging of the vessel in the water is symbolic of pushing you through spirit to become a new person when you come out. It's the same thing as when you perform a peyote ceremony, mushroom ceremony, or ibogaine ceremony. The goal is for the new person to be born from the old person. In the baptism, is symbolic of being a new you being submerged in the spirit. And that's why in the book it say in the final days, you will be baptized by fire and spirit, not water. Right? Water was symbolic of being in the age of Pisces. You had to be submerged under the waters of Pisces in order to come up able to see underwater, so to speak. So the baptism had a practical application in the Vadum culture. The AME Church and the Southern Baptist Church had to adopt the practice different from the Catholic Church, because the people who they were usurping already had a baptismal practice, and they wouldn't go with the censures with the so-called holy water as the Baptist Church do. I mean, the Catholic Church does. And that's because it was a different culture and a different phenomenon. With the way the Catholic Church does it is different from the way we did it. And our tradition is carried on in the American church. You know, Southern Baptist Church or AME Church, and a lot of the Pentecostal churches have baptism too. But even communion, we didn't do communion like they did communion, right? Because what we did was honor the flesh that we ate. And we either used to cook the blood or we spilled the blood to feed the earth in commemoration of the slaughtered animal. We didn't have slaughterhouses. We didn't mass slaughter animals. Like, you know, it might be a cow for each family for the year.
Yeah.
Depending on how many you got. If it's 2 or 3 people in the family, you might only get a half a cow.
One buffalo.
You know, yep. And you would get a certain amount of turkeys at the turkey harvest when you leave. But the guest of honor, who Big Mama honoring as the new chief with his new family, is the table of honor where he sliced the turkey, right? Those are different forms of communion in tribal tradition that's been usurped by the Eucharist of the church, which is a simulated blood rite. Takes you all the way back to where she asked earlier, who is these dirty Moors? And we take us all the way back to Ninursin and Enlil and the sin rites of ancient Babylon.
Somebody said, this is, can you share with us your vision on the Bible scripture referring to every knee shall bow and every tongue shall confess? Hold on, it says, salute young other chief party. Was Abraham Lincoln the last Republican president? And can you share with us your vision on the Bible scripture referring to every knee shall bow and every tongue shall confess that Jesus is Lord?
Well, when you figure out that the New Testament was written in Greek and it wasn't no J, and you find out that Jesus is Isis, and that they using it interchangeably with the mother and the son in the New Testament, where two different people talking and the words read. And then there's a bunch of stories being told, right? But the only way that every knee gonna bow and every voice will confess, then everybody have to recognize the one individual as the rightful heir to the earth. And that's my take on that. I don't know if it's gonna happen like they say it's gonna happen, but a lot of the revelations been revealing as they say they gonna reveal. So hey, I'm just watching the show play.
Hey, the Pope go and get up every morning and go bow to the Black Madonna. That's our Nana. He go kiss on it. Oh, stand there and stare at her. Oh, help us, Mother God. Look, hey, y'all. What you say, Roy?
You see the clips performing at the Vatican?
What? I gotta go watch that right there. What?
Yeah. Pusha T and his brother is performing at the Vatican.
Yeah, shout out Pusha. That's my boy, man.
Yeah, I love Pusha T. Pusha T caught me off guard with some of his lyrics. Boy, he wicked with it. He wicked with it.
Man, boy,
if there's one person that can handle Kendrick in the rap game, I have to go with Pusha.
Them boys nice on that new album. Just the time and effort they put into it is real nice.
Yeah. Now remember, the Pope is from Chicago.
Oh yeah. Go ahead. Yeah. That's
got his people came from Haiti to New Orleans, then to Chicago. He got his drop of blood. What's gonna happen when the darkies take over? See, and the clips performing at the Vatican, I don't even think we know how
Eclipse
that is.
Eclipse at the Vatican. That's a flip. That's a heavy ass flip right there, bro.
Yeah, Pusha T a chief.
Pusha T. The T is for Tahiti.
Pusha T a chief. Yeah, Pusha T a chief. Pusha T, he got the rub from a couple of big shots. I ain't gonna go to name dropping on him, but he touched some very powerful people's hand that give him the rub, and that's why like Pusha T ain't regular. He like same mentality like Dolph, Pac, Big, Old Dirty, Dark Man. They all cut from a similar cloth. Yeah. Like, and you ain't gonna just say what you want about Pusha. He coming.
Yeah.
Right. But some of them other ones, you know what I'm saying, they can't handle the aftermath, so that you know, it's the same with 50. Yeah. You can't just say what you want about 50 and don't expect them to respond. And 50, he don't mind getting petty. He'll tell you. He say, yeah, I did it. I only did it because I knew it was petty. Right. So look, all of these entertainers in the rap world, if you want to know which ones was about our business, look at the Hip Hop Summit by the Nation. If they didn't show up, they suspect. Because it was a carryover from the Million Man March. After they found that letter to the executives about that meeting that they had, then they got a hold of the tape about hijacking the music and making us put self-destructive music out because we made songs like We All in the Same Gang, West Coast Rap All-Stars, Self-Destruction, the whole East Coast rap world. We was all on the same page back then, but we wasn't unified with it yet. We were just on the same page of the book, telling the same story. Right? When you go back and listen to them songs, they talking all kind of tribal codes in them songs. But after the 91 conference is when they start pushing this gangster rap murder music. You know, before 91, it was only one person talking about shooting people in music, and that was Cool G.
Yeah, your boy Cool G.
Look, Cool G killed more people in one rap song than John Wick killed in 4 movies.
It's crazy.
You know, he was the original gangster rapper. He wasn't he was a gangster, but he started rapping. Shout out to Cool G, Black Gorilla family, salute.
That's crazy. It's the last question before we get out of here, Rod. What can we expect? Do you think this shutdown is gonna go 30 days, over 30 days, like the last one did? And that because people starting to get worried about the stamps. You say they did $1 billion, $2 billion loan.
$2 billion. It wasn't a loan, it was money took from Doge.
Okay.
From the audits when they recovered all of the stolen money.
Okay.
He allocated, I think it was $2 billion to continue single mother benefits, is what they called it, and food stipends for children. So that's like WIC and food stamps, bridge cards, whatever you want to call them, SNAP, whatever it is. But that's what the $2 billion is, to pay them out. I don't know how long $2 billion is gonna last.
Yeah,
but when the flip happened, then you won't need those benefits the same way.
Right. Somebody asked, that's for here really the last one. Is the IRS gone? I think they gone. I think the IRS gone.
And they just fired, I think it was 1,500 IRS employees a couple days ago.
What? I do take on that.
Remind me of it, I'll send you the receipt. Because I got it posted on my page.
Okay, I'm gonna go check that out. Hey, we got Rod. If you want us, because people was asking how can you talk to Rod. We got in the link in the descriptions. We got Rod Facebook and his Instagram link. Go follow him on Instagram and on Facebook. We got them links in the description. Right? What else? Oh yeah, hit that like, hit that subscribe button, man. Like I said, if you want to show Rod some love, we got the Cash App and PayPal on the screen. Right, everybody. We had 10,000 people on night. That's a record. Hey man, hit that like for me, y'all. Show Rod some love for this show, y'all. This right here is a notice to agent, notice to principal. Is like we said, go out and learn the Constitution. Are they putting out AI tapes breaking down each our 27 constitutions over the next 2 weeks, so you can so if you don't like to go read, you can watch them videos I'm gonna put out. It's gonna be they're gonna break down. It's gonna be 9 videos. Each video is 3 break down 3 of the constitutions and how they can be violated, all kind of stuff about those 3. So it's gonna be 9 tapes. They're gonna come out breaking down the whole Constitution. So but we got to stand up for something, because if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. And we got to, and according to what they taught us and instilled in us, we standing for the Republic. It's for the Republic for which it stands. That's what they said, right, Rod? For the Republic.
You got to go to the Republic to get back to the control of the land to the people. And the people who control the land, what you call territorial rights, is the tribes.
Right. Also, I'll be dropping a tape about the structure of tribal government, because I dropped the one today about the structure of their government system. So I'm gonna be dropping the one about our government system probably Friday. The tribal government, the structure of tribal government, because we're gonna get ready to go back to. We gotta govern ourselves. See, the only reason they govern us, because they saying that we don't know how to govern ourselves. And the only reason they want to know how to govern ourselves is because they miseducated us out. They educated us out of governing ourselves. Their educational system, Rothschild's system, is set up for them to stay governors over us. And they are the entrepreneurs and the governors, while we are the slaves and the workers. It's part of the whole.
Remember, Noble Joe Ali said, I'm going to lead these people in power long enough for y'all to learn how to run the government.
Right. There you go.
I can run the tribal government and set the tribal government up in any location. It's going to function the same everywhere, because it's the proper order and structure of tribal government, which is primarily matriarchal.
Right.
Right. The women inherit the land, the men enforce the rules.
Right.
Right. When you hear the word Congress, look up the term Congress of Mayors. It's a part of the horse breeding. When you look up mare is a female horse. Stallion is a male horse.
That's right.
The mayor of every city on this land is supposed to be the town mother.
Big mama.
It's not an elected position. It's a group of town mothers get together, and the one with the most wisdom and know how to solve problems the best get the job. Right? And she hold the position until she successfully trains a successor, so she can retire, or she do it until she cross over to the other side. But either way, she still have to train a successor.
Continuity of government.
Yes, sir. Which is part of the matrilineal system where we going back to.
Yeah.
So the Congress of Mayors used to meet at the provincial center, which was called the Grand Governor, which was represented by an elephant, a Republican. The elephant was the symbol of the grand matriarch of the particular area. Most of us don't know that elephants originate from the Americas.
Right. That's right.
Most of us don't know lions originate from the Americas. So when we see these symbols, we think they making reference to Africa. When you see symbols from the ancient Arab order of the nobles of the mystic shrine, and you see camels.
That's right.
In the symbology, that's from over here.
That's right.
Right? The camels over here, the colonizers ate them all. Gotta remember, they was Arabs. They didn't like the alpaca because he wasn't a camel.
Right. Right.
No. But people in that area still eat alpacas. So we got to know a lot of this stuff about the history of the world that's been kept from us. So we waiting on Baba to have the opportunity to release the full text of the record of the sacred record of the Nubian Nation of Moors, because it's a huge collection of historical facts that he had that he never released. He released an excerpt called "Let's Set the Record Straight."
Yeah.
That dealt with a specific part of the problem. And that was the part that we needed to understand the difference between the Moors and the Moors.
That's right.
Because that's what they use to try to confuse us in language. Right? That's why the code that they incorporated was the Liber code. Liber means book. Right? It's the root word, the library. So when you're looking at the concealment of information, that's how we know to look in the library.
Right.
Look in the books. Right? And the ones of us who stuck on the oral tradition, because it's a lot of us that won't pick a book up. We stuck on the oral tradition to the degree that we won't read a book. So now they got audio books. Take away the excuses. You know, so you can just listen to the book now.
Hey man, I put out a book every day.
For sure.
Yeah, I tell you.
A scroll.
Huh?
A scroll.
Yeah, I put out a little scroll every day, but like if it's over 40 minutes, that's a book like this though. With the AI read it, the way the AI read it, that's a book like this, 40 minutes. 20, 25 minutes is a little 10, 15 minutes is a scroll. 30 minutes is down that book. But like we say, I just put out 5 tapes today, all dealing with this class, right? So like if you like, I don't like the way they talk, or it's too long and drawn out, right? So we always do, me and Rod, we always put like a what you call it, Rod, like an undernote or outline class out on the classes that we do. So off of this class right here, if you want to get more in depth on it, we got 5 tapes on the video side that we just put out that ties all into this tape. And then I also got other tapes like who put the play on Old Man Lincoln, right? Because Old Man Lincoln got the same guys who usurped our original Constitution and created a copyright Constitution so that they can pull us into this corporate jurisdiction. These same guys put the play on Old Man Lincoln. Now, I don't know if to me, man, I'm starting to think Old Man Lincoln wasn't with us neither, though. You know what I'm saying? Even though they put the play on.
Okay, first off, you got to know which Lincoln you talking about.
Okay, go ahead on next. I ain't heard that. I know it's the white Lincoln and black Lincoln. You know what I'm saying?
And one of them is called Abraham Lincoln Africanus.
Okay.
Go on your phone, type in Abraham Lincoln Africanus.
Hey, y'all, write that down. Somebody drop it in the chat, man.
Yeah, Abraham Lincoln Africanus.
Because he really didn't free the slaves. He just really transferred us over to Congress. And then they put a play on him because he shot because he cut the bankers out on interest on their money, you know, by printing the greenback. That says Abraham Lincoln Africanus. Oh, that's Frederick Douglass?
You want me to read it to you?
Hey, read it.
Abraham Africanus was a mocking racist nickname for President Abraham Lincoln, used by his opponents, particularly Copperheads, during the Civil War to suggest he had African ancestry or was too sympathetic to black people. This nickname, along with political pamphlets and cartoons like Abraham Africanus the First, aimed to undermine Lincoln by linking him to black people and portraying him as a radical or dictatorial figure threatening the established social order. Historians have found no evidence to support the claim of Lincoln's black ancestry. Now, you know, not only that, Jay Rogers got a book called 5 Black Presidents. And one of the things that he used to validate and prove that Abraham Lincoln was black was the guy who won Abraham Lincoln lookalike contest, and he was a DC attorney, and he was a known brother.
Man, that's crazy.
It's in J. Rogers, 5 Black Presidents. But what that was really telling you is that it was 2 Abraham Lincolns. One was pale-faced, the other one was not.
Yeah.
Remember, Abraham Lincoln had nappy hair under that top hat.
Yeah. See, I heard a story where they replaced like they really did this to us. Cut like anybody that was like in a position of authority, they erased them all, made them white. They made them white. Anybody who was in a position of authority, it looked like
they done that to the Continental Congress.
Yeah.
You got people that still have the original flyers, right? And they have since posted them. They show the pictures of all of the people that was drawn at the time that the Continental Congress was going on. They got all of them face in the circle.
Yeah.
Right? But then when they show us the picture of the Continental Congress, they all painted pale face.
Right. Right. It's all part of the white supremacy game.
It's the same with George Washington. We don't even know which George Washington they talking about. Was it the one born in Barbados? Was it the one born in Virginia or the one born in France? Which one is it? Make your mind up.
Yeah. The one in Barbados. And he was he looked this color too. And he sold us out, and he got a whole bunch of land out in Oregon. They gave him almost he had the most, he was the richest guy in the Western Hemisphere. I mean, in the West Coast. After president, after he sold America. Yeah, so these guys, we going back to the Republic, man. So it's the Republic for which it's thing. Always was and always will be. Ain't nothing they can do about it.
No,
And
that's
the only
going to
reason,
change too.
huh?
The Republic is going to surrender to the matriarchy,
Yeah.
right?
I can
But
see
you
that.
had to go through the Republic in order to take it back from the corporation.
Mm-hmm.
You had to go backwards through the whole process.
Yeah.
Like I told you, we're going through the Republic now. The restored Republic is going back through the reign of George Washington into the Continental Congress, which transferred back to the tribal jurisdiction to reestablish. Now, they got chiefs in Raven Rock that's doing the lines of demarcation because all of the lines have to change.
Yep, that's right.
And when all of the lines change, the capitals have to change. The centers of government have to be moved. Because they was on the Atlantic shoreboard, they have to go to the west of the Mississippi now because it's their turn to hold the capital again. This is why you see the United States Treasury moving to reservation right outside of Reno, Nevada. And CENTCOM moved from Langley, Virginia, not Langley, I keep forgetting the name of that Marine base down there. But from there, it's moving to Raven Rock, Colorado, under the mountain. And this is where the command center has been for the last 12 years or 10 years. They was the ones decided to put Trump in office instead of just go ahead and have a bloody coup to take or counter coup, so to speak. So they used the system to take the system back from the people that stole the system.
Aristocrats, man. The aristocrats. Hey, and you know what? I can see in my mind, Rod, like this, all of the little parasites that was sneaky and against our country. I can see them like rats that's got the spotlight on. Now they can be they like, oh, they see us, they know who we are. We got to get up out of here. Like a rat, like rats leaving out a burning barn. They got to get the hell on, and it's all over with now. But they going off licking their chops like, well, we robbed them for so much now. We like they was already full off of our wealth. They already full and fat. They walking around fat off of us, and they still want more. They want it more. We want to get hold them forever, for generations and generations.
Yeah, they operate off the philosophy of what's mine is mine and what's yours is mine.
Wow.
So now they finna find out. You can't have my cornbread.
Yeah.
You
Eat
get your own cornbread. You ain't get my cornbread. Don't reach your hand over here and I'm gonna draw back a nub. I'm telling you now. Don't mess with my cornbread.
Especially out there good grandma's buttermilk cornbread fresh out the oven, hot. Man, with some chili beans, man. With some chili beans and rice, man. Don't get me started, man. I'm starting
Some
to get
collard greens.
some collard greens too, man. Some collard greens, man, with everything, with the apple cider vinegar in them joints. Man.
Look, and anybody from the South know your greens don't taste right unless you eat them with your fingers.
Man, you gotta sop it. You gotta sop it. You gotta get that juice, get you some cornbread, hey, some hot sauce, Louisiana hot sauce. Man, come on, man. You making me hungry, man. Man, some Louisiana hot sauce with the cornbread and some with them greens, then some black eyed peas. Man, come on, some purple hub peas. You ain't from the country, man. Come on.
You making me hungry. You making me hungry. I got some chili. I got some chili beans and rice upstairs. I'm about to go handle my business.
That sound good. Hope you got some. Hey, hope you got that motherfucking cornbread on the side. It's a dude that be on.
Yeah.
You know that dude. They be cooking.
Yeah. Gotta have that motherfucking cornbread. Hey, he be cooking up something, don't he?
Yeah, I'm telling you, that dude there, he real deal. Like them people in Louisiana can cook, man. That dude there, the real deal.
Most of the ones that live back off in the holler can cook.
Them Cajuns.
You know, most of the people can't cook from the inner city.
Right.
There's very few country folk that can't cook.
Yeah, that's right.
Right. And then a lot of the country folks is pale face. They learn how to cook from our big mamas so they can burn.
Right. That's right. That's right. They got Big Mama's.
We be forgetting that they got pictures of the Big Mamas nursing the pale faced babies.
Yeah, for breastfeeding them.
Yeah, but they wasn't just breastfeeding. They was nourishing a life. They was teaching life skills to them. Stuff that they purposely deny us now. Nobody don't tell children that life supposed to be hard. You're supposed to have struggles. That's why the suicide rate so high. People get into a struggle situation and they give up.
Yeah, that's right.
And the struggle just a test. You got through a period of ease, then you go through a test. It's called vicissitudes of life.
Right.
The ups and downs, right? The more you prepare a child to endure the struggle part, the easier their struggles become because they expect them to come.
Yeah.
But when you get hit with a emotional drain and you don't know where it's coming from and what to do about it, you lose hope.
Want to escape.
Let Tupac say, we hopeless. We only hopeless if we helpless. But if you helpful, be helpful. Right? Because when you helpful to others, you helpful to yourself. You're teaching yourself the skills to interact with other people on a higher frequency.
Right.
That's why we do this.
Right.
Raise our own frequency by explaining to people the information, where we was lied to at, where there's the correction in the lie. You got a whole bunch of people that told us what the lie was. Nobody's telling us the correction. Because they think the correction to the lie is called status correction.
Yeah.
You don't have to correct your status in the system you're not a part of.
Right.
You only got to correct your status when you're part of a system. You came in as the plumber and they're trying to put you on an electrician job. That your status is incorrect. You got to go let them know that I'm not the electrician, I'm the plumber, so they can put you on the plumbing team.
Right.
Right. So status correction, meaning that I accept the system only under these conditions. So it's another form of adhesion contract that's based on deception.
Game.
Yeah.
You could drop the mic and walk off stage with that one, bro. You drop the mic, boom, walk off stage.
Hey, we need to try to get that sister over here because they be coming at her. I need to know she ain't by herself.
Who? Which one?
The one you showed them 2 videos from today.
Oh yeah, so like I'm gonna go try to lock her Instagram into this video. I'm gonna put it into the links when I get off here. I'm gonna go find her. Yeah,
she answered her comments on YouTube too.
All right, so maybe I'm gonna try to get into. Maybe we can get her on here, man. That'll be interesting because her main focus is going at restoring the republic. So we on that too. You know what I'm saying? That's one of our nails we trying to put into their coffin.
She can have the show. I just want to come over here so we can let her know you ain't by yourself.
Yeah,
we've been fighting the same freaking fight, and if you need some help, we got a whole bunch of ammunition loaded in this YouTube cannon.
Hey man, look, we building archives, man. I'm telling you, like, we ain't leaving no stone unturned. I'm telling you, that's what we coming out. We turning over all stones, right? It don't matter what it is. We're gonna check it out, see what's going on, because they can run, but they can't hide. Right? They can run, Rob, but they can't hide. The black hand, the cat's paw, they can run, but they can't hide.
Wait till Angel Bay get home. Angel Bay sniff him out like a bloodhound. He know him out the gate.
Right.
That's why they don't want him out. He coming.
Yeah.
He coming, but when you in Chicago, boy say Stone Running, know that he's supposed to be the grand sharif of the land. Right. All of the law enforcement activities supposed to be going through Angel Bay, unless he appoints somebody as his champion that's better at the strategic position. Until then, he the law.
Yeah, it's a reason why they locked them Pacific people up. Doc, Jeff Ford, Larry. It's a reason, man.
That's because they the chiefs.
Yeah.
They the chiefs.
Yeah.
Malachi not just the chief, he the high priest.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So they want to try, they use stuff that they can control the narrative with easiest as the means of your destruction.
Mm-hmm.
If your people don't pay attention enough to be able to stand up for you, they gonna be the ones they use to throw you under the bus. Right? And when the community grow as fast as the Nubians grew, that's the greatest fear of the corporate fiction. Because once he established that sacred site in Tamaray, they was no longer supposed to touch him. They was no longer supposed to touch him, but they fabricated some BS, COINTELPRO,
Yeah.
hit him with the government snitch program, hit him with the infiltrators,
Yeah.
right? And got people to make up stories like they did on Garvey, Drew Ali, Elijah Muhammad, and the list goes on.
Right.
But now it's the great redemption. We back for everything they owe. It just so happened they owe us everything.
Everything.
Reparations won't do what my birthright will supersede that. So we need to be aware it's birthright over reparations. Your birthright will nullify any need for reparations because you already rich.
Right.
In order to get it back, you have to know that you already rich and that your birthright override all of that other BS they talking about.
Right.
Reparations cannot compensate you for nothing.
No, that ain't enough. That
You
ain't
know,
enough.
we never needed their financial support to build our communities firm and strong. But when they start handicapping the community by directly attacking the families under the pretenses of welfare, that Elijah Muhammad told us what it was going to be used for back in the 60s. Then he wrote about it in the 70s in Fall of America and Our Savior Has Arrived. Right? He wrote about it. The welfare state and the welfare program. It was in the final call. I don't know how many of them then had the whole welfare scheme broke down, that different reporters do articles about the system of welfare and its original intent. Its original intent had nothing to do with us. The original intent was to compensate the women who lost their husbands in World War II. Under the New Deal, they had to find a means to support the families who had lost the breadwinner. So they created the welfare state. But when they seen that it can be used to exile the male out of the home and break the structure of the family down, then they start to push it in our community. But not only push it in our community, we're not even the biggest recipients of welfare. Corporate America get more welfare dollars than poor people.
That's right.
Next to that, pale faces get more welfare benefits than melanated people.
That's right.
It's just the structure of the system because it wasn't originally designed for us, but it was able to be used in a secondary capacity as a tool to break up the family. And a good understanding of what I'm talking about, watch the movie Claudine with James Earl Jones in it, and it show you the whole play being played out with Claudine until James Earl Jones say, we don't need their money anyway. We can go make our own.
Right.
And got her off welfare. Right. But everybody not going to do what James Earl Jones did in that movie. Because every man don't want to raise another man's child. But my mama told me if I take a woman with children, they're my babies too.
That's right.
Right. So I don't know what to tell you. If I take a woman with babies, they're my babies too.
That's right.
You know, until they get grown and go on their own separate ways.
And sometimes that turns out to be a good thing too, because them kids come back. It's a bond when you treat kids good. Kids always remember that when they grow up.
And people don't know the value of talking to a kid, just saying hi. Just saying hi to a kid, wave at them. That changes how a kid's whole life trajectory could go just by one person saying hi to them for free.
Yeah.
They got us conditioned now that everything we do, we got to get money for it. Everything is not repaid in fiat.
Yeah.
Sometimes your gratitude for being able to uplift somebody else's spirit is enough to get you a reward, but you got to do it freely from the heart. You can't do it with an agenda. That way it don't restrict how much reward you get for it. But if you a good person expecting benefit or reward, that's the only reason you a good person. You still a piece of shit. You're just a piece of shit that's been controlled by a potential outcome.
A pet.
Yeah.
Roll over. Here you go. Yeah, that's how they do. Hey, man, about to get up out of here. Hey, shout out all my baby kids. A lot of baby kids in the building tonight, man. Shout out my baby kids. Shout out that boy Chief Hakeem, man. My son named Hakeem. My son Chief Hakeem, man. Hey, yeah, shout out all the chiefs. It was a lot of chiefs in here tonight too. Shout out all the chiefs that came out. Shout out Chief Red Chief from the Alabama. I think I saw a couple of people, some chief high chiefs in here. So shout out all the chiefs that was in the land. This is the first step, man. Like we said, we headed back the way what we started it, and to overthrow these tyrants and these aristocrats and these foreigners. We gotta stand for some or fall for anything, and standing for the Constitution is the supreme law of the land, right? So,
and I'm too big to be falling because it hurt too bad at my size.
right. So, like I said, if the Constitution is the supreme law of the land, the Constitution is our sovereignty. It's how we maintain our sovereignty for the start, for the basic part of it, I think.
Just reverse engineering the same process that got us in is the same way we get out.
Yeah, that makes sense. And on that note, we out of here, y'all. Hotel, peace, love, divine love throughout the boundless universe. One love, one heart. Free all the political prisoners. Free the master teacher, Dr. Malachi Z. York, Jeff Ford, Larry Hoover, Rashard Jamal, right? Who else we got? H. Rap Brown. Anybody that's locked up, that's a political prisoner. R.I.P. Asada Shakur. We out, man. Peace, love, one love. Wadu.
Wadu.
Never have it been made so clear.